Imagine you walk into a room. No context, no introduction, no backstory, just strangers. And within 4 minutes, without anyone saying a single word about money, you can tell almost perfectly who has had it for a long time and who just got it. That's not a party trick. That's pattern recognition. And the patterns are screaming.
Here's the thing, though. Nobody is trying to give themselves away. They think they're hiding it.
Because here's the truth nobody tells you when you first come into money. Money doesn't change people. It exposes them faster. Whatever was already there, the fear, the hunger, the need to be seen, money just puts it on the outside, turns the inside out, and everyone around you can read it, even if they can't explain how.
Wealth has a language. And like any language you learn as an adult rather than as a child, you will always speak it with an accent. You won't know it. Everyone else will. And it always starts the same way. The watch. A piece of metal on a wrist that costs more than a year of rent in the city they grew up in. Then the car. Not because they needed one, but because it needed to be seen. Then the restaurants, the trips, the stories that begin, "We flew in on Friday." Not because they love travel, because they love what travel now signals about them. Old money does none of this. None. The man who inherited $100 million is wearing a cotton shirt he's had for 15 years. He drives something forgettable. He doesn't post the hotel suite. He has nothing to prove. Not to you, not to anyone. New money and old money don't just have different bank accounts. They have a completely different relationship with being seen. To understand why, you have to go back further than money. You have to go back to the brain. When a person grows up without enough safety, without enough status, without enough proof that they matter, something gets built inside them. A system, a compensatory engine, designed to signal value, to broadcast worth. Because if you were never assumed valuable, you learned that value has to be declared, loudly, repeatedly, in ways people can't ignore. That system doesn't disappear when the bank account changes. It goes dormant. Then the money arrives. And suddenly, finally, it has the resources to do what it always wanted to do. It performs. A man who grew up watching his mother check grocery prices twice doesn't just buy a Porsche because he can. He buys it because of every single moment he couldn't. He's not buying a car. He's buying a revision of his own history. He is driving the distance between where he was and where he is, and he needs you to see how far he's come. This is not vanity. It's grief. It's overcorrection. It's completely, painfully human. But it gives itself away every single time. Most people aren't showing wealth. They're showing fear. The fear that without the signal, you'd see through them. Back to who they were. Back to the grocery store, the cramped apartment, the version of themselves they're trying to bury under leather and logos. Status anxiety has a texture. People who have always had what they needed can feel it, even when they can't name it. There's a tightness in new money spending, an eagerness, a quiet desperation tucked just underneath the surface. Yes, this is real. Yes, I belong here now. Yes, update what you think of me. Old money doesn't have that tightness. Old money is relaxed in a way no amount of money can actually buy. Because it's not about the wealth. It's about the decades of social contexts that surrounded it. The casual assumption of belonging, passed down like furniture. You can copy the furniture. You cannot copy the casualness. Look at the language. New money says, I own. Old money says, we have. New money names the brand. Old money assumes you already know. New money tells you what something costs. Old money would find that mortifying. New money posts the suite. Old money doesn't think about the suite after they leave it.
The sweet is just where they stayed. That gap, right there, the not thinking about it, you cannot fake that.
But here's what nobody talks about. And I mean nobody. Stop what you're doing for a second, because this is the part most people miss completely. The most revealing behavior doesn't always come from new money. Sometimes it comes from the people performing that they're above it. You know this person. They make a point of not caring about brands, loudly. They wear deliberately ordinary clothes like a costume. They tell you they don't check their portfolio. They make sure you know they've moved past all of this. That's still a performance, just a different costume. One person buys status through display. The other buys status through performing the rejection of status. Both of them are still in the transaction. Both of them are still trying to make you think something. Old money doesn't perform either direction. It simply does not think about it. And that absence of effort, that is the most expensive thing in the world. It cannot be bought, only inherited.
There's a moment. Everyone who comes into money has this moment. Most won't admit it. You're in the car, or looking at the photo you're about to post, or mid-sentence describing where you stayed, and something shifts. Cold, quiet, a voice from somewhere honest. I am trying to convince people of something. The trying is the tell. Who is this for? The honest answer arrives before you can stop it. That's the turning point. The line between new money behavior and something older, quieter, harder to perform. Because the real response, the one that comes from actual security, is to stop, pull back, let the proof live privately, let the performance die publicly. Not out of modesty, out of power.
There is an extraordinary power in being underestimated, in walking into a room, letting people form their assumptions, and knowing quietly, without correcting anyone, that they are wrong. That is a luxury no purchase can reach. It takes, on average, a full generation to develop. This is why the children of wealthy people seem oddly indifferent to wealth. They were raised inside it. It's furniture to them. No emotional charge, no story to revise, no distance to prove. They are free from the performance. In a way, their parents, if their parents came from nothing, will never fully be. And here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. That freedom isn't earned. It's inherited. You can't build your way there. You're born there. Or you spend a lifetime in the waiting room. Close, never quite through the door.
Which brings us to the real cost. Not financial, not social. The cost nobody accounts for. The interior cost. Every time you perform wealth, you are in a transaction. You are spending attention, yours and everyone else's, in exchange for a revised perception. And like every transaction built on anxiety rather than value, the return is never enough. The post gets the likes, the car gets the looks, the story gets the nods. And then, nothing. The quiet comes back. The original feeling returns. And you need another performance.
The richer you try to appear, the more you reveal what you're afraid people will see if you stop appearing. Every Rolex, every first-class story, every casually dropped number, not data about your wealth, data about your wound. Wealth doesn't reveal insecurity. It reveals insecurity at scale. And old money reads those signals with perfect fluency. Not cruelly, just quietly, the way you recognize an accent from home.
Real wealth doesn't need an audience. It already answered the question new money is still loudly, publicly, desperately trying to answer. The question isn't, how much do I have? The question is, am I enough? Money cannot answer that. Any amount,
any brand, any trip. It can only amplify how urgently you're still asking. And here's the thing, the uncomfortable thing, the thing you maybe don't want to sit with. If you've watched this far, you already know which side of this you've been on. Maybe you caught yourself in the watch, in the story you told at dinner, in the photo you posted that wasn't really about the photo. Maybe you caught yourself in the other direction, performing how little you care, making sure people noticed you're not noticing. Either way, you were in the transaction.
We all are. That's not a judgment. It's a diagnosis. The performance doesn't mean you're shallow. It means you're human. It means somewhere, at some point, someone made you feel like you weren't enough, and you believed them. And now you're spending money, or spending restraint, or spending energy trying to prove them wrong. To people who weren't even there. To an audience that doesn't exist. The only people who've escaped the performance are the ones who stopped needing to win the argument. Not because they got rich enough, because they got quiet enough. And quiet, real quiet, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself, is the rarest thing money has ever failed to buy.
So the next time you see someone working very hard to make sure you know they've made it, look closer. Not at what they're showing you, at what they're protecting underneath it. And then
Look in the mirror. Ask the same question. Because the show is always about the thing the performer doesn't want to see. Not you, themselves. The loudest rooms are not just empty. They are frightened. They are trying desperately to fill a silence that follows them everywhere. And the moment you stop trying to fill yours, you become the person in the room everyone can't quite read. The one with nothing to prove. The one they remember. The one who won.